Good day, everyone. Today I will be presenting our research entitled Measuring the Digital Economy Using Data from Households and Individuals. This is a study of the PSRTI authored by Dr. Lisa Grace Bersales, Dr. Josefina Almeda, Ms. Megan Saroca, Ms. Sushimita Pelayo, and by yours truly. To start, let me first show you the outline of my presentation. I will start with an introduction to be followed the objectives of our study. Then I will discuss our methodology, followed by the results, and end with the conclusions and recommendations. So over the course of the past months, I believe a number of us have been acquainted with these logos one way or the other, especially for someone like me who has stayed at home ever since the pandemic started. I have used these applications one way or the other. It's pretty interesting how, through the advancement of technologies, activities and products that used to be physical are now online. I can now shop online, watch online, pay online, and interact online. And these interactions are not just limited to socializing, but interactions online can also be for business or economic purposes. So transactions, interactions, and products were digitized, and now we live in the midst of a digital economy. So what is digital economy? Digital economy refers to a broad range of economic activities that use digitized information and knowledge as key factors of production, such as the use of ICT. Initially, it started out by selling traditional physical goods usually found in physical stores digitally, such as what Amazon and eBay did. Afterwards, retailers began selling a wider range of digital products and services. So, digital economy has made way for new digital products and services such as entertainment streaming. So, with this development of technology and the shift of activities, digital economy has become more widespread and partaking in it has become more accessible. However, measuring digital economy has been difficult, particularly given its dynamic nature. Several countries have found measuring digital economy challenging, and this is where our study springs from. So the objectives of our study is first, study the conceptual framework of digital economy, contextualize it in the Philippine setting, and expand its scope to cover the household and individual level. Next, enumerate indicators at the household or individual level that contribute to the measurement of digital economy. So from this list, select a set of priority indicators with available data and review their methods of estimation and computational formula. And lastly, generate the estimates for the selected priority indicators. So to give a background, the National ICT Household Survey, spearheaded by the DICT, was done in partnership with PSRTI back in 2019. So through NICTHS, we were able to gather information on ICT access and use and some points on e-commerce at the household and individual level. From there, we got interested not just in ICT, but in digital economy as a whole. So for this study, we basically studied how other countries measure digital economy, and we tried to contextualize it to the Philippine setting through indicators that use household and individual data. So now for the methodology. This research was done in two parts. The first phase focused on literature review. We did desk review for the conceptual framework of digital economy. We reviewed its concepts and their definitions, what comprises digital economy. We reviewed definitions of digital economy employed by various countries alongside the impacts of digital economy and the need for its measurement. Hence, in the first phase, we had a country comparison on various countries' efforts in measuring digital economy. Then, through the methodologies and indicators proposed by international organizations such as OECD and G20, we were able to procure a list of indicators that help measure digital economy. Enumerating the indicators included checking their definitions, its methodology, the data needed for it, is the indicator appropriate at the individual and household level, and the status of this indicator in the global setting. So from this list of indicators, so from the list of indicators that we have procured in the first phase, we reviewed all those indicators to check which ones are applicable and most visible to the Philippines in the second phase. Then after shortlisting these indicators, we proceeded with the data collection for the selected indicators and then generated its estimates. So for this presentation, due to the limited time, I would be focusing more on the indicators rather than the country comparison, particularly the final indicators that we proposed and which we were able to provide estimates for using the NICTHS data. So at the end of the first phase of the research, we were able to come up with 60 indicators that contribute to measuring digital economy of to that contribute to measuring the digital economy of a country. The 60 indicators were mainly based from OECD's House Life in the Digital Age and G20's Toolkit in Measuring the Digital Economy. So the 60 indicators fall under 13 categories or dimensions of the digital economy. You can see the 13 indicators in your screen, and beside them is the number of indicators under that particular category. So from these 60 indicators, we selected 10 that use individual and household data and which are most apt and feasible in the Philippines. So now let us move to these 10 indicators. First one is internet access to households. So this is under ICT access and use. And the definition of this indicator is that it pertains to any internet connection at home which can be used by any household member at any time. So this refers to the access of a particular household to an internet, meaning they have their own internet access at home. So for the formula, it is the number of households that have its own internet connection at home, which can be used by any household member at any time, divided by the number of households in the Philippines. Using the data from NICTHS, we arrive at the estimate 17.7% of households in the Philippines have their own internet access, while with 33.2% of households in NCR and only 4.5% of households in BARM. So this indicator can address the goal mentioned in the updated PDP that aims for increased investment in ICT infrastructure. Getting a figure of internet access to households can provide information on how much more and where to particularly invest for ICT infrastructure in the country. For the second indicator, still under the category 3 ICT access and use, we have broadband subscriptions in households. This is defined as the broadband penetration, which refers to the number of households that has subscription to fixed broadband services. So this is computed by number of households that have fixed wired or fixed wireless broadband at home divided by the number of households in the Philippines. Using the data from the NICTHS, we can see that 53.2% of households with their own internet have fixed wired broadband network, while 21.8% of households with their own internet have fixed wireless broadband network connection. And for the total of this is 75%. So aside from fixed wired and fixed wireless, we also asked we also provided other options in NICTHS. So some have satellite broadband network while others have mobile broadband network. Next, for indicator 3, this is still under ICT access and use. We have price for internet connectivity for households. So this refers to the average monthly spending by households on their internet connection at home. So on the average, how much does the household spend for their internet expenditures? So this is computed by total average household expenditure for internet connection for a month divided by the number of households that have its own internet connection at home, which can be used by any household member at any time. The national average we have arrived at is 1,281. And then if you can see, the highest average can be found in Region 7 with 1,539. And for BARM, it's way lower with 395.25. So as you can see, the BARM's average monthly expenditure is on the lower side, and this makes sense if we look back to this slide where BARM's type of internet connection is mostly centered on mobile broadband network. So rather than fixed wired and fixed wireless subscriptions, they use mobile broadband. That's why we arrived at the lower average for BARM. So next for indicator 4, which is internet access by individuals. So if the first indicator was internet access by households, this one is internet access by individuals. So from this point on, most of our indicators will be using individual level data. So for the definition of this indicator, this pertains to any individual's usage of internet from any location. So it's the number of individuals that have used the internet from any location in the last 3 months divided by the number of individuals in the Philippines. So we arrive at the estimate that 43% of individuals use the internet or have accessed the internet in the past 3 months. 64.7% in NCR with and 59.6% in Region 4A and 50.5% in CAR. And for the lowest side, on the lower side, we have BARM at 13.4. So this indicator is important. Going back, this indicator is important as the country is known to have one of the slowest average broadband speeds among ASEAN countries, but have prices that are on the higher spectrum. So this poses as a challenge as most people now have shifted to work from home arrangement, and slow yet expensive internet prices can hamper the productivity and efficiency of the Philippine workforce. So moving on to the last indicator under ICT access and use, we have online activities by individuals. So this refers to the online activities that were done by individuals that have used the internet. So this is from the list of activities we have used here was based on the ITU manual. So, and this includes access to government websites, social activities or communication, access to information, leisure, professional life, learning, creativity, online transactions, and online transportation. Basically, the indicators before that I have presented showed how many use the internet, and this particular indicator shows how individuals use the internet. So going back to its computation is the number of individuals that have done a particular online activity divided by the number of individuals that have used the internet from any location in the last 3 months. So these are the estimates using the NICTHS data. So and as you can see, the highest is at 42.7%, which is social activities, and 19 followed by 19.3% of individuals, which is to use it for access of information. So this shows us that most of the people who have accessed the internet used it for social activities or to access information. So this is we now move to the next indicator, which is online consumption of individuals. So this indicator refers to the share of individuals who have purchased goods and or services online. So this is computed by the number of individuals that have purchased goods and or services online in the past 12 months divided by the number of individuals in the Philippines. So if you will notice, so this indicator is now touching on e-commerce. So this indicator can help in the government's effort in strengthening the e-commerce industry by gauging how much of the Filipinos have purchased online in the last for this indicator, we're using the reference period of 12 months. So using the NICTHS data back in 2019, we have arrived at 11.1% of individuals have purchased online in the last 12 months. So we can only imagine how much this estimate has changed ever since the pandemic started. So on the other side of things, the next indicator now refers to selling goods and services online. So this is the share of individuals who have sold goods and or services online. So this is computed by the number of individuals that have sold goods and or services online in the past 12 months divided by the number of individuals in the Philippines. So for its estimate, we have 2.4% of individuals have sold goods online in the past 12 months. So as you can see, this is lower than the 11.1% of individuals who have purchased something online. So I think this means that individuals are more likely to buy things online rather than to sell things online. But again, the importance of this indicator is that it, e-commerce bridges the gap between consumers and sellers by providing an alternative platform to physical stores, which actually entail high costs. So e-commerce shows the potential in enhancing the competition as small business owners are now given the opportunities to sell their products. So especially now that some stores try to survive the pandemic through online selling. So overall, this indicator and the indicator before can help in monitoring e-commerce in the Philippines. Moving on to the eighth indicator, which is electronic or mobile money account registration of individuals. So this refers to any of the electronic mobile money accounts available in the Philippines. So that is PayMaya, GCash, Smart Money, and PayPal. So it's computed by the number of individuals that have an electronic or mobile money account divided by the number of individuals in the Philippines. So just to clarify, electronic money is electronic alternative to cash. So it is the monetary value that is stored electronically on receipt of funds and is used for making transactions. And similarly, mobile money allows people to receive, store, spend money using their mobile phone. So for this indicator, we were just asking on if that individual has an electronic money account and not really on using it. So this as you can see it in the indicator name, it says registration of individuals. So it's more of do they have this electronic mobile account? And for the estimates, it shows that only 6% of individuals have e-money or e-mobile money accounts back in 2019. With CAR going as low as only 1% of individuals have electronic mobile money account. So second to the last indicator, we have online job search. So this pertains to the number of individuals who use the internet for professional life purposes. This is computed by the number of individuals that have used the internet for professional life in the last 3 months divided by the number of individuals that have used the internet from any location in the last 3 months. So this is actually close to the indicator on online activities. This is one of the activities there. And eh, professional life here refers to looking for a job. So using the internet for looking for a job and connecting to professional networks such as LinkedIn or JobStreet. So again, this is actually an indicator that can be seen in indicator 5. So from similarly, back in indicator 5, this is 2.9% of individuals have used the internet for professional purposes. And lastly, we have indicator 10, which is individuals that reported cybersecurity threats. So this indicator refers to the reporting of any of the following cyber incidents: SMS fraud or text scam, hacking, phishing, or cyberbullying or cyber libel. So this is computed by the number of individuals that have reported cyber incidents in the last 12 months divided by the number of individuals in the Philippines. The estimate shows that only 4.6% of individuals have reported the cyber incidents that they have experienced. So this indicator is important as with the benefits of the digital economy comes also its risks. So among these risks are cybersecurity threats. This is important to emphasize the need to address these concerns as these risks discourage some to partake in digital economy. So to conclude, although many claim that Filipinos are extensive users of the internet, the results show that majority of the individuals in the Philippines do not access the internet in 2019, especially those in Visayas and Mindanao region. The participation rate may also be a reflection of the wide varying levels of ICT accessibility and capacity across the country, as well as prices for internet connectivity. In summary, through the various indicators proposed in this study, it can be said that the level of penetration of the digital economy of the Philippines is still on the low side before the pandemic. So this paper recommends that the indicators be considered for regular data production as these indicators can aid in policy making of the country in terms of digital economy. But on the short term of things, This paper recommends a new round for the NICTHS in order to reflect the changes in the digital economy caused by the pandemic. So that's it. Thank you for listening.